Stop. Stop.
Good Sunday morning, YouTuberinos. I hope everyone's doing well and swell on this Sunday morning. Thomas and Haley here. And in this video, we're going to shoot the breeze. So, how you doing?
I'm okay. Not as good as I would hope that I would be, but I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. It's been a weird week.
Yeah.
You've been hanging with me throughout most of it, haven't you?
Yep. Yes, I have. Do you wanna update us a little bit about your dad?
You want to help me with that? You
Yes,
know
I'll
some
help
of
you with
it.
that. Yeah, I'll help you.
So for those that don't know, in case you are new, my father was a water well driller for 49 years. And the strain of the job has really just taken its toll. And it's not good because unfortunately, he's in too much pain to where he can no longer do the job. And he got his knees replaced some time ago. We went up to Mayo Clinic, and now his shoulders are killing him. And it's the problem where I live is the doctors, they care, but they don't. You know, Thomas and I are lucky. We're young. The doctors actually know how to handle us. When you get to my dad's age and you're in his physical shape, they don't believe that you're in the pain that you're in. I sat in a doctor's office with my dad, and a guy tried to tell my dad, your pain is disproportionate to your arthritis. That basically means you're a big fat faker. You're making it up. You cannot possibly be in this much pain.
Right.
And that was when he had his knees done. But the problem is they can't give him anything for the pain that he's in because they've been wanting to give him like opioids. Well, the problem is opioids are
Addicting.
extremely, yes, they're extremely addictive. And he did, when he was rehabbing his knees, he did have OxyContin, but it wasn't like a constant thing. He had it just in the short term for the first couple of days.
Right.
And he jacked up his back.
Right.
And as if that is not enough, the pain in his shoulders, his tissue, he doesn't have tissue in his shoulders. And his tissue is gone. So his shoulders are bone on bone, which is exactly what his knees are. And the reason is because being a water well driller does put a lot of strain on your body.
Right.
Because it's very heavy work that you're doing, and it's very heavy equipment that you're lifting, and it really does. You have a lot of heavy work that you're doing. If you guys are really interested, Google it. For those that don't understand, so when you live in the city, you have city water. You know, the city of wherever you're living, they handle the water. They have, water treatment plants and stuff like that. When you are in the country, your water comes from a well.
Right.
That's outside your house. And back in the day, people would pump it out of the ground, into the cup or wherever, to get water. Well, now, through things that I don't understand that my dad would be able to tell you, you're able to luckily get stuff, from the well out of the sink.
Right.
And, when your pump gets hit to what?
Do you guys have a well or?
No, we have city water.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But when your pump gets hit by lightning,
You're shit out of luck.
you need it fixed, my dad is one of the people in my area that will fix it. Well, he's in too much pain, and he's extremely just very upset about the whole thing, and he's very depressed.
Yep.
And I'll be totally honest with you guys, I feel like I'm losing my father.
Yeah. Which is sad.
And I can talk about this because my dad does not watch YouTube.
Nah.
But yes, he used to be a very fun, energetic, happy guy. Me and Thomas were talking about it this morning. For those of you that are my friends that watch, especially Daniel, if you watch this, you know because you're with me every day over FaceTime, which was explained in a previous video. I've told you about what I call the dad scrapbook. So all these random memories of my dad, the way he was, just kind of flood back through my head. Just random crap. Like, he used to...
Google Earth. Messages.
He really was
Two unread messages.
Involved dad. And he was much more involved of a dad than a lot of my friends have and a lot of his friends had.
Right.
And, like, he would get up in the morning, and he can't carry a tune, but he does like to sing, and he'd come in and he'd sing, "Good morning, sunshine. Wake up, sleepyhead. Your daddy's girlfriend, and he loves you." And we would sit in the rocking chair in the morning, and we would rock, back when he had a recliner. And he used to drink coffee. We used to have a coffee pot here, and I remember whenever he would take a sip, he'd stop the rocker and he'd lean forward and pick up his cup and take a sip of Java. We used to go to breakfast all the time. My former vision teacher and I we used to take her to breakfast every so often because she's awesome.
Yep.
He sat with me before school when I did my sensory diet in the morning because they needed somebody to sit with me and I needed to be at school to do my sensory diet. And so my dad said that he would. He was a very, very, very active participant in my schooling. He helped me with homework. He used to chaperone field trips. He used to help me with homework. Now my mom was the one that changed her career. My dad has always had a hard time with me being blind. And then adding in the SPD side of things, he has a hard time understanding my quirkiness. If anybody's seen The Big Bang Theory, you'll get this reference, my Sheldon tendencies. And I have been told by a lot of professionals who've worked with people with autism, you probably are on the autism spectrum. And I know, the three big domains are communication, sensory, and social. Yeah. Sensory, absolutely. Communication and social definitely is impacted when something is causing me to go into sensory overload, or I'm upset about something, or overwhelmed, or this, that, or the other thing.
Right.
But the hard part about all of this is, we never know from one day to the next what his mood's going to be like. And we'd go to McDonald's when they would have pumpkin pies in the fall, and we'd say there were 2 McDonald's in the area that we would go to. And my dad would say, "How many pies do you have?" And they'd say, "I don't know." "Oh, we have 20. "All right, we'll take them all." And then we go to the other Mickey D's. "How many pies do you have?" "Oh, we have 30 pumpkin pies, sir." "We'll take them all. And then I would have pumpkin pies every day for a snack. There was a day, actually, that I remember we went to McDonald's, and that's what we used to do after school, to get me a snack. And they gave us, this was back in the days before COVID, when you could just give them food back. Their fries that they gave us were not hot. And my dad asked to speak to the manager, and he said, "Look, okay, it's a potato, It costs $0.25. You sell us fries for $1.79. They could at least be hot.
Right.
So here's what I'm going to do. You're going to take these fries back. I'm going to pull forward, and you're giving me a fresh batch of hot fries, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And they, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. And, you know, here's one thing about my dad. My dad's always been a good, fair businessman. And he's always been honest with his customers. And he's always been a very good husband and a good father. But he does not take crap. And I'm not trying to get into politics, but he's a lot like our former president, Donald Trump. And you can like him if you do. You don't have to like him if you don't. But a lot of people didn't like him because he did not sugarcoat. He told it like it was. And if you didn't like it, tough. And my dad was like that. And, you know, he and my mom always had very, very different views on how I was parented. And my mom tried to be my best friend. And my dad was always very, you know, old school, right, Thomas? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And it's hard because, I mean, I've always been a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
But then as he started to have more and more and more pain, I mean, he got his knees scoped for the first time when I was in like 7th grade. And then one thing led to another. And after my senior year, we went up to Mayo for the first time. He got his knees injected. And they didn't do anything for him. And we went to Mayo because the doctors around here very, very clearly stated that, you know, we were afraid to touch you.
Yeah.
Because he's a big guy. Yeah. And they tried to tell him this crap about how you're pre-diabetic and you're this, you're that, and the other thing. Well, his physicals always come back perfect. Even though he is in the shape that he is in, his blood comes back fine, his cholesterol comes back fine. You know, our doctor even said, I wish I had your blood. And so we went up to Mayo, and then he got his knees done, and, you know, it used to be a case of he'd pop in a Aleve or a Motrin or a Tylenol if he was in pain. But it's not that simple anymore because he can't. The pain is just way too much. And the thing is, if he were to get his shoulders replaced, he can't work now as it is, but he would never be able to work again. He would never be able to pull wrenches again. And I remember going back to the dad's scrapbook. He used to read me stories at night. If you guys remember the Little House on the Prairie series, he used to read me a chapter a night from the Little House books. And he always helped me with homework. He actually was the mystery reader in my class in kindergarten. I had this book that I really liked called Fix It, Please. And he read it to my class. I mean, I would say my mom and I are closer. And for those of you that know me in person, you know that the past year and a half has been very hard with my family, especially because my mom had several trips to the hospital and she had several problems with medication and panic attacks and this, that, and the other thing. And it's just hard because I never know from one day to the next what type of mood he's going to be in. He can barely sleep at night because of the pain that he's in. And he's surviving on a cocktail of Motrin and Tylenol. And he does have lidocaine patches that mom puts on him, but they barely do anything. And there's something wrong with his body temperature because he sweats like a pig, even in a cold room. And
yeah, that's weird.
And yeah, there's something wrong, and he can't keep functioning like this. The whole pain situation. I'm not going to get too into everything, guys, but this whole pain situation has got him very down about everything. And it's hard because, I see glimpses of the dad that I used to have.
Right.
And those of you who know me in person that watch will know that, especially you, Thomas, and Daniel, if you're watching, every day is very unpredictable.
Right.
And all my dad does, there used to be a time where he'd watch sports. He used to love his football and his baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
He can care less about baseball this summer. He sits and watches the same old reruns of shows on TV. He loves MASH. You guys might remember the theme song. Do 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 do. Bless you. If it wasn't for MASH when he was rehabbing his knees, he would have gone nuts.
Right.
Because he loves what he does. He really loves the job. He loves to work. He loves, getting to, handle people and help them. And I mean, he started working for my grandfather, who I never met him. He passed away when he was 12 years old.
Right.
And it's very hard because the dad I remember used to have a lot of energy. He used to be fun. We used to play games. We used to play Hi-Ho Cheerio, if y'all remember that board game. They had it in my kindergarten class, and I wanted to see it. I wanted to play it at home because I thought that would be fun.
Low battery.
Shut your face, voiceover. But you want to help, Thomas?
Yeah. Why don't you tell the story of when you were born and you squeezed his finger or whatever?
Yes. So I was born at 23 weeks and 5 days, and I was very premature. And if you can picture 5 sticks of butter and hold them in your hand, that is how heavy I was. And actually, funnily enough, my aunt thought my first word was heavy. Anyway, when my mom spent a lot of time with me in the hospital while my dad was working. But on the first day that I was born, on my first day of life, he came in, and it was me and my sister. He was going to get me baptized and named. And he came in, and I was in an isolette, and he put his little finger in the isolette, his pinky, and I squeezed the heck out of it, and he said, "Be tough, never give up." And he told me that he was my dad, and he told me all about my family, and I mean, he really has tried to be a very good dad. He really has, and that's.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah.
So I forgot. So how old were they when they had you?
My mom was 29, and my dad was, I can't do math. What's 29 plus 5?
35? I don't know.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, he would have been 34.
Oh, okay.
He was 34 because they have a 5-year age difference.
Yeah.
And my sister was Kayla Ann Terrell, and she died after 11 days because she came out of my mother so fast that she hit the palm of that doctor's hand with her head. She shot out of her like a rocket. And the brain bleed was just too much. And she held my mom. My mom told Kayla, "We're going to get through this together, baby." And so I stayed in the hospital for 5 months. And my dad came to see me when he could, but mostly she was with me as much as Daniel is over FaceTime. I know I mentioned in a previous video, in one of our Shooting the Breeze videos, I mentioned Haley duty.
Yep.
Daniel's by my side practically 18 hours a day.
Now,
all because of the seizure I had.
Why were you in the hospital for 5 months?
5 months because I was a preemie.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so I was on oxygen. I was on, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I had a nebulizer, to help me breathe. And it was awful. It was scary. And, because my lungs were too weak, and my dad and my mom tried to take me to the best specialist that they could. Actually, funny story, we went to a guy who was a retinal specialist, and he tried to tell my dad that I couldn't see light and dark. Well, before the appointment, because they did several surgeries to try to restore my sight. Yeah. None of them worked. But it was a sunny day out, I guess, and my dad was holding me up to the light, and he was, playing with me, holding me up to the sun and catching me. And I was giggling. Mm-hmm. And Dad told this doctor about this, and he was saying that, the guy was saying that, she'll never be able to see light and dark, blah, blah, blah. And Dad said, really? Well, how come when I hold her up to the light, she squints? Mm-hmm. Huh? She holds, what? I've got to see this. Mm-hmm. And that's when my dad clearly figured out that a lot of doctors are not as smart as they think. Mm-hmm. Same with teachers. He actually called... There was a day that 4 out of the 9 people on my IEP team arbitrarily decided they weren't going to show up without telling anybody. And that was one of the days that the special ed coordinator was trying to say that I was making stuff up and they weren't taking my SPD seriously because as you might know, OT was taken out of the picture because they thought I was doing well. And, that just because a student doesn't have OT, that does not mean that you don't take the fact that they have a neurological condition out of the picture when it comes to their individual programming. Right. And
you might remember from my annual review slash
yes, you had OT.
Annual review slash IEP. My preschool teacher, she became my preschool teacher. She was my preschool teacher. She said on the tape that wherever I am, OT needs to be part of my program. Wherever I am.
Right. And that was the hard thing that I think they were very much one size fits all. And I had a blind friend that they compared me a lot to. For confidential reasons, I'm going to call her Helen. Helen can do this, why can't you? Helen can take notes in class, why can't you? Helen this, Helen that. Her name's not really Helen. I mostly called her Helen because I was thinking about Helen Keller. Not everybody is Helen Keller. Not every blind student is going to be Helen Keller.
Yeah.
And, my dad actually had the nerve to tell these people, you guys are complete educated idiots. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by him telling the truth, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah. But I remember you told me you were pissed off at him for doing that.
Oh, yeah, I told him that, because my mom was really PO'd. And I told him, if you're going to act like a moron at my most important meeting of the year, you ain't coming back next year, and you're never coming back again. So, skedaddle. But...
And he never came back after that, right?
Nope. But that special ed teacher was an idiot. Oh, you're just making that up. You're this, you're that. I would try to advocate for myself, as we are taught to do, are we not?
Mm-hmm.
And my teacher the next day would, her real name is Donna. I'm going to call the special ed lady Mrs. Jones. She would say, Mrs. Jones and I had a conversation yesterday, and she didn't like the way you said this and that and the other thing. Well, first of all, whose IEP is it?
Right.
Second of all, my mom tried to, and she would even say that, Mrs. Jones didn't like when your mom said this or that and the other. First of all, is Mrs. Jones my mother? Does Mrs. Jones spend day in and day out working with me and Helen? No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
So, lady, you need to cool your jets.
Right.
But before I left the transition program, they made absolutely sure that OT was put back in place and that it was indeed documented that I do have sensory processing disorder.
Right.
But, my dad was the type of guy that went along with programs, even though he didn't fully understand.
Right.
And he even told me the other day, he goes, I'm trying so hard to accept you for who you are. And again, I can say this because he's not going to listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, be totally, personal businessy and tell everything, but he was in so much pain the other night that he wanted for everything to right. You know how, some people will, jokingly say that, but that's not something that you joke about. He was in so much pain.
He wasn't joking.
No, and he had just about had enough of being in the pain that he was in and suffering the way that he was, and for the doctors down here to not be able to help him. It's the hardest thing too when your dad is in the pain that he's in and you cannot do a thing to help him.
It's very sad.
And one of the things that we have been doing at night, because he likes it, is I've been scratching his back. Because even the simplest things my dad can no longer do by himself. Think about all the millions of things that you do with your arms.
He can't dress himself. He can't take a shower by himself, right? Am I correct?
You are correct.
Yeah.
He can, but it is pain city.
Yeah.
For him just to do that simple stuff. And it's hard. It's very, very, very hard. And you told me that his dad told him that he shouldn't go in the business, right? Yes, but he admired his dad and he wanted to do what his dad did.
Right.
But now he feels like he should have listened to his father. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with your parents being your role models. I knew from a very young age that I wanted to help people who were blind and visually impaired.
Right. Now, was his father in as much pain as he is?
I don't know, because he drank like a trucker.
Oh, boy.
And he died at 56 because he had cancer.
Okay.
He drank and he smoked.
Okay.
And
cigarettes?
Do what?
Cigarettes?
Yes, cigarettes.
Okay. Did your dad ever smoke cigarettes?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah. So guys, just imagine, you had, your father for so many years, and now imagine that your father is in so much physical pain that he can't do anything. It's sad. It's very sad, guys.
It's very sad. He has dad's voice. He has dad's skin texture. Nothing about him is the same. And I'll see glimpses of the old dad. The dad who he used to be texted Daniel and said to him last year, "Hi, Daniel, this is Haley Elizabeth's dad. I don't know if you know, but that's her middle name. Thank you for being such a wonderful friend to my little girl. Feel free to text me at any time and for any reason."
Yeah.
But he wakes up in the morning and he's lucky if he can get 2 hours of sleep a night, because there's only so many comfortable spots that he can lay on his pillow.
Right.
And that's the hard part, because he's just in too much pain, and it is very sad. It really is very sad, especially when the dad, you remember, you can't, it's not as simple as giving your dad a massage.
Right.
I mean, Daniel had a shooting pain in his leg the other night, because he rides an exercise bike. They're fun. And his legs were throbbing.
Wow.
And I said, his legs were like Jell-O, and they were throbbing. And I said,
Jell-O.
I'm not trying to pretend like I'm a doctor, but what's your pain at on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, not painful at all, 10 being like the worst pain imaginable.
Right.
Because they ask him that up at Mayo. And see, that's the thing with even the scale of 1 to 10 ratio, pain is impossible to see, and it's so hard to quantify. So I think a lot of people don't believe that he is in as much physical pain as he's in.
Right.
And Daniel said 8.
Oof.
And I said, no, I'm not trying to be mean, but imagine that throbbing pain that you're feeling, and this goes for all of you watching.
Right.
Imagine that throbbing pain all over your body, in your shoulders, radiating down through your hands, in your back, just everywhere.
Right.
Every single day, and you can't do a thing about it.
Right.
That's my dad's life.
Right.
And it does affect his mood. It does affect his temper. It does affect how he handles doing things with us. It helps. It affects his day-to-day interactions with us.
Right. Alexa,
It's very.
what time is it?
It's 8:07 a.m.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's hard. It's very hard, and it's very sad, because I don't like to let Dad see my emotions.
Right.
But I mean, I definitely cried like a baby, more so with Mom and her health issues
Right.
than I did with Dad. But I still do cry.
Right.
Because it is hard, and I don't know how else to reach him, and I like to let him know how I feel. So the other day I sent Mom, okay, back up. I sent him a song by a Canadian artist named Dean Brody. He's a country guy, for Father's Day, and the song is called "I'd Go to Jail."
Right.
Those of you who are Canadian country fans, shout out. I love you guys as artists up north. You should be played down here more in the U.S. But part of the song is, I can't help myself, I'd go to jail over her. And it's basically how a father feels about his daughter. And I know my dad would go to jail over me.
Yeah.
And that is the last song I was able to internet radio record before I seized.
Wow.
And I sent that song to him for Father's Day, and he loved it. He cried. He absolutely cried. He loved that song so much.
Wow.
And so then the other day I sent Mom to play for him Rascal Flatts, another country group. The song is I Won't Let Go. And he listened to it a couple days ago and he cried. It's hard, because I've always liked to sing. How else am I going to express myself to Dad?
Right.
And it is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult when your father is going through a crisis situation and you can do absolutely nothing. I mean, like, just like right now, on a normal day like this, whether it be a Monday or a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, we would probably be going to breakfast.
Right.
We took Donna out to breakfast so many times.
Oh, wow.
She was a very lucky teacher to go to breakfast with us.
Yep.
It's just hard because you can't do anything to help your dad. You know, he already has tinnitus in his ears, so he sleeps with a very loud and very annoying fan. And the fuzzy black critter, Min Min, my puppy dog, she's a black lab. She lets the whole house know when she's got to go potty in the morning and when she's got to go to the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie, if you happen to listen to this, you need to calm down with that too, because your mommy and your daddy especially don't need that. Your daddy doesn't feel good, baby girl. And, you know, dogs are really good at sensing that stuff. They know when you don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
They can sense that stuff.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not trying to make it seem like everybody has to care about my family, but you all that watch this channel are probably very familiar with me, very familiar with my situation. For those of you that do know me in person and that do support me, thank you for all that you do. I cannot stress enough, Daniel, what you do for my family. You lower both my parents' anxieties, especially now, because my dad is having enough issues with his own mental health.
Right.
And to be constantly worrying about his little girl, he doesn't need that.
Right.
You know, and it is not okay. It is not okay for somebody to be suffering like that and for you not to be able to do anything. I mean, I wish it was as simple as, you know, here, Dad, I'll give you a massage. I used to give him hand reflexology. It's a Chinese therapy where there's different pressure points on your hands and your feet that correspond to your body. It's really interesting.
Right.
But that doesn't work. And I'm not trying to be mean when I don't interact with him. I'm just trying to give him space.
Right.
Because who knows what type of mood he's going to be in? Who knows?
Is he still sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Luckily. But it's hard, Thomas. Did you want to say anything? I'm sorry. I think I may have accidentally cut you off.
No, I'm just listening.
It's just difficult. I mean, if you want to mention anything else that we talked about earlier this morning before we started this video, we can. I'll tell you what I'm really craving right now that he used to go get me all the time is Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
One of the days... What?
We talked about how good his mac and sneeze is.
Oh my God, yes. For those of y'all that make Kraft macaroni and cheese, my dad's secret to making it even creamier is put an extra tablespoon of butter in.
Extra butter.
Yes.
Extra butter. Oh, yeah.
He used to make good cocoa wheats. Scrambled egg sandwiches. He makes a mean scrambled egg sandwich. And yes, actually, one of my favorite memories of him do involve me and him going into the bar and having a couple drinks.
Right.
Let's be perfectly honest here. Now that I'm an adult, we can do adult things. Because of my stomach wrap, I do have to be very, very careful. But the point is that, you know, I am able to have a couple drinks now and then if I want. He actually told me when I was 18, which is a bunch of crap because we know that Daddy's always been my buddy. Well, now that you're 18, we can be friends.
Now you talk. Now a little while ago you talked about OxyContin, and that's addicting, right?
Yes, he did have that when he was rehabbing his knees. Oh God, the puppy's going nuts.
Really?
But yeah, it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of controversy about the shoulder replacements, and it's just difficult.
Well, I hope you can get some food in you soon.
I hope so too.
Uh-oh.
And Min Min made her YouTube debut.
All right.
Oh my God. But yeah.
Okay.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, me and Meg love you very much.
I love you both very much too. And I don't mean to sound pissy when I yell at you guys about all this or yell at anybody, but it's very sad that unfortunately nobody understands the true pain that my father is experiencing.
Yeah.
And nobody can, you know. You all know the saying, it's hard to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Right.
He can't explain to the outside person the pain that he's in. Oh God, he's waking up. Oh no. Oh my God. But, you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
Any well wishes would be much appreciated. I couldn't have gotten through this year and a half of unpredictability without my friends.
Right. You can never have too many friends, folks.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. And, you know, we all need to just stick together and be considerate of what people are going through and not wreak havoc and not cause drama. Don't we, Thomas?
Mm-hmm. Save the drama for your mama.
Save the drama for your mama. Yes. Absolutely. And I mean, yesterday I just lost it and I had a crying fit. And Dad goes, "Don't cry. You don't need to cry." And I normally try not to let him see my emotions like that.
Yeah.
But he is a good dad. He really is. And unfortunately, because there's nothing that can be done, that makes things even more difficult for all of us, because he's not the dad he used to be, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Alert. Low battery.
It must be hard, you know, to live with somebody, you know, you don't know what mood they're going to be in and every day. I'm sure that's very hard.
Absolutely. And like right now, when I just heard him coughing his brains out, I knew, okay, Dad's waking up. Oh boy. Let's see how he slept. Let's see what kind of mood he's
10% battery remaining.
Oh, shut your face.
Okay.
Shut up.
Shut up, you stupid low battery alert.
Stupid.
Just like Daniel saying.
Just like disc not ejected properly. Your face.
You know it's not ejected properly? Your
face.
So shut up.
Mm-hmm. For you Mac users, you all know what that means. I have no idea what it means, but...
Minnie, relax. You're gonna go to the farm soon. Calm down.
Sometimes his Mac says that.
Stupid dog. Love my dog to death, but my God. Why don't we, because we've been chatting for a bit, why don't we, you want to call this video quits? Because you got a show to do soon.
I suppose. As much as I don't want to.
Alrighty, well, let's call this quits and upload it.
Guys, please subscribe to Daniel's channel. Please, Daniel Semro. So that's Daniel, Semro. And, of course... Please subscribe to our channel, Thomas and Meg. And if you guys want to listen to our show every Sunday morning from 10 to 1 my time, which is Eastern time, all you have to do is just tell your Alexa device to open Get Me Radio and tell her to play 98.6 The Mix. Server 2. Y'all take care.
Close. Button.
And thanks for watching.
Flip camera. Stop. Button.